So we'll start the webinar right now. A very good evening to all the panelists and attendees. I'm Kushi Javeri from Kyoto University, and today we are here for the Global Network Project of University of Tokyo India office. This project aims to attract students primarily from South Asia to encourage them to pursue their further studies in Japan. In today's webinar, we have been joined by a couple of renowned universities in Japan. Each of these universities will give us a 20-minute presentation about their programs offered at undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral levels, followed by a 5-minute Q&A session. Students are free to ask questions to our panelists in the Q&A box and not the chat box. Once again, please make sure to ask your questions in the Q&A box. And panelists, please make sure to turn off your video and audio when not presenting. Now I'll share the agenda of today's webinar. So we'll commence the webinar by a brief introduction by Ms. Sakshi, the Program Assistant of Tokyo India office. Then we'll have a presentation of the overview of study and work life in Japan by Mr. Gupta from University of Tokyo, followed by a presentation by Ritsumeikan University by Mr. Daniel Serlo, the Administrator of the International Center. Then we'll have a presentation by Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University by Ms. Dipti Singh, the India representative. And lastly, we'll have a presentation by Tokyo University of Foreign Studies by Professor Haruna from the School of Japan Studies and Ms. Ishida from Global Admissions Office. Now I'd like to request Ms. Sakshi to commence the webinar by a brief introduction. Ms. Sakshi, you're not audible. You're breaking.
Am I audible now?
Yes, better. Thank you.
Okay. So hello everyone, and again welcome to this webinar. My name is Sakshi Roy, and this program is hosted by the University of Tokyo India office and brought to you by MEX, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology in Japan. So let me give you a brief introduction about our office. Our office is a part of Study in Japan Global Network Project in Southwest Asia by MEX, and we provide comprehensive information on Japanese universities. We organize education fairs and seminars throughout India as well. So today we are going to have our 13th webinar series of Study and Work in Japan. As you may know, all these webinars is basically designed to introduce you to some of the best Japanese universities, and we will be discussing the various program offerings and opportunities to study and work in Japan in our online session. So there will be 3 different Japanese universities representing in each session: national, public, and private universities. All the universities are basically focusing to introduce English-based programs that are offered by them. So I'll tell you that in Japan, with approximately 700 plus universities from which to choose, as well as specialized vocational institutions, the academic options for international students are nearly boundless. So after graduating from Japanese university, you will be truly valuable in your job market, not only in Japan, but in other countries as well. So lastly, I recommend you all to please listen to each and every presentation very carefully. I request attendees to please note down the contact addresses of respective universities, and then you can directly contact them in case if you have any questions. So thank you very much for listening to me, and please enjoy today's session, and please don't forget to register and join us for the next session tomorrow at 1 p.m. IST. I hope our sessions will help you to consider studies in Japan. And thank you very much. Over to you, Ms. Kushi.
Thank you, Ms. Sakshi, for the introduction. I will reshare the agenda slide. Now I'd like to request Mr. Gupta from University of Tokyo to give us an overview of study and work life in Japan.
Can you see my?
Yes, your presentation is visible.
Yeah. So, okay. Oh, my video. Wait, just a second. Yes.
Mr. Gupta, you can continue with the presentation. You do not necessarily need to share a video.
Yeah. Just so good evening, everyone. I'm Abhishek Gupta, and I will be sharing about work and life culture in Japan. So first of all, why Japan? So Japan has the third largest economy in the world, which is propelled by automotive and consumer industry. It has the highest employment rate among the developed G7 nations. And also, life in Japan is very peaceful and full of opportunities. It is evident from the fact that many Japanese cities like Osaka, Tokyo are ranked very high in the most livable cities in the world. Also, Tokyo is one of the best cities for students in the world. Only country like Japan can make the most populous metropolitan region as one of the best livable city in the world. Transportation mode are very convenient and punctual in Japan. Japan provides excellent international cuisine options like Indian, Chinese, European, etc. Japan also provides an excellent health insurance coverage for students via their national health insurance, which is one of the best in Japan. So let's talk about Japanese university and education system in Japan. So there are mainly three types of universities in Japan: national, public, and private, which offers variety of English programs throughout undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral programs. So to give an overview, around 40 universities offered on 90 courses offered in English. 51 university offer 160 courses in English, and all the doctoral courses are in English as well. As to compare with Japan, the admission system is a bit different. Like in India, we have the centralized admission procedure like JEE, NET, and GATE. But in Japan, each university and even specific department within the university have their own admission procedure. Likewise, Japanese universities have one of the best infrastructure, and the university dormitory are very peaceful and environmentally pleasing to look at. So about admission as an international student. So for bachelor courses, there would be many universities, they will be discussing about their English programs, and you will know how the admission process happens in those universities throughout our webinar series. For master and PhD courses, generally you have to establish a contact with the supervisor, which is supposed to be your professor you are going to work under with, and follow rest of the proceeding. If we compare the tuition fee and living expense in Japan with like a developed nation like US, the tuition fee for the public universities is around 1/5, and for private it's around 1/3, and living expenses is around the same for Japan and the US. So a lot of Japanese governments, like associations like MEX, GESO, they provide financial assistance to many students. Also, there are many private foundation and university scholarship that you can apply for. For job opportunities in Japan, an average salary after graduation in Japan is 3.9 million yen per year. Japan has the lowest unemployment rate, that is 2.34%. And all the leading Japanese companies like Nintendo, Canon, Mazda, they are willing to hire international people. Also, many global companies like Amazon, Google, they have their offices in Japan, which offers a variety of internship, part-time jobs, and even long-term employment opportunities. So I would like to put an extra emphasis on this visa procedure in Japan. So after you've finish your student life and you want to enter as a change to a working visa, it's very easy or to change the visa, and you don't have to go back to your country and then come back away. So for my life in Japan, I am an environmental science student. I'm a bachelor 4th year student, and as an environmental science student, I really respect the environment very much. So that's why you can see cherry blossom in the spring, fall in the autumn, and a nice view of Fuji from Tokyo all the time around. I do a lot of cycling, and every like either big or small river in Tokyo has a cycling or a walking route. This is my lab. We are giving, this is a photograph taken when one of our Indian postdoc researcher, he graduated and he left for United Kingdom for further research. And this is some of my classmates. And I also participated in, I do participate in a lot of activities. Through one of the activity, I had the opportunity to go to US and learn about filmmaking, which is not my major, but you do get these type of opportunities. And here is one of my experiment that I'm doing right now, in which I follow up on the electrical properties of oxide on thin films. And I also am I started cooking in Japan, and this is one of my pioneer after coming to Japan, that I learned how to cook circular roti. I wish all the young students over here a very best of luck, and I'm eagerly looking forward to meet some of you. So now I will hand it over to Ms. Kushi again.
Thank you, Mr. Gupta, for the very detailed presentation. And I'll reshare the agenda slide. So now we have Ritsumeikan University. Ritsumeikan University is a renowned private university in Japan with a range of English-based programs and a diverse international learning environment. The university was also selected for the Top Global University Project as an institution that provides world-class education and research. It also boasts several partnerships with universities in the overseas. Now I'd like to request Mr. Daniel to give us an insight into the university.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kuchi, and thank you to the other presenters this afternoon. So, hello everyone. I hope you're having a great day. My name is Danny Cirillo, and I work for the Ritsumeikan University, and I work at the BKC International Center. BKC stands for Biwako Kusatsu Campus. We have three main campuses at Ritsumeikan University, which I'll give you a brief introduction on now. It's quite a nice place. So hopefully I'll be able to see some of you in Japan next year. So to get started, I'd like to share a short, brief PowerPoint here. And what I do at the International Center is mainly graduate student admissions. So I mainly am involved with the graduate programs, admissions processes, as well as scholarship-based admissions and things like that. So I'll be mainly speaking about the graduate programs today, but I will try and save a couple of minutes at the end and give you some information about the undergraduate programs as well. Just very briefly. I'll just mention very fast that our undergraduate admissions office will be speaking next time on July 17th. So yeah, if you're interested to have a more detailed explanation about the undergraduate programs and admissions, definitely tune in once more on July 17th, and you'll be able to hear and maybe ask a lot more questions. So with that, I'd like to take a look at PowerPoint here real quick. There we go. So again, I will be speaking to you today about Ritsumeikan University and primarily our graduate schools. So first off, Ritsumeikan University, where is it located? Well, Ritsumeikan University is located in the Kansai region of Japan, in what's considered the western part of the country. Our main, original campus is located in Kyoto, and our main campus in Kyoto is Osaka Campus. If you've ever been to Japan or seen pictures of like a golden pavilion, that's just down the street from this campus. It's sort of in the northern end of the city. We have another campus called Suzaku that's in Kyoto, which is sort of just pretty much administrative offices for the most part. There's some classrooms and stuff there, but our other main campuses are Biwako Kusatsu Campus, which again is where I work. It's located in neighboring Shiga Prefecture, which is a bit more rural of an area. It's quite picturesque, but definitely a bit more rural than in the city in Kyoto there. And then our most recently built campus, our newest campus, is Osaka Ibaraki Campus, and that's located in Osaka, of course. And if you haven't been to Japan, it might be hard to tell, but basically from Biwako Kusatsu Campus to Osaka Ibaraki Campus is about maybe 40 minutes, 45 minutes by train. And you pass through Kyoto on the way. So access between the campuses is excellent. And also, regardless of what campus you're located at, you do have easy access to the great sites in Kyoto, Osaka, as well as like neighboring Kobe. And also we have, of course, Shiga as well. So moving along, Ritsumeikan University. It's not written right here, but we're, as Japanese schools go, we're on the large side, definitely on one of the larger schools, with a total student body of about 35 to 36,000 students. Of those students, about 3,000 roughly are international students. And we have 1,034 international graduate students. In our graduate level master's and doctoral programs, 266 international students, reside. And from the sort of, Southern Asian region, we have 54 students from India, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. And of course, we have students from, all neighboring countries, and in fact, from, pretty much all around the world. And of those students, those 54 mentioned here, 29 of them are studying either, towards their master's degree or doctoral degree at the moment. So Ritsumeikan, as I mentioned before, 3 main campuses. This is a view of our Kinugasa campus in Kyoto, just one section of the campus here. It's definitely, very nice part of the city. It's sort of pressed right up against the northern edge of the city, actually. So if you can see that little mountain in the background, if you go any further, it's just sort of mountains back there. And if you come back in the direction of where this picture is being taken from, you're sort of heading into the city itself. This is just another view from a different part of the campus. Obviously, with COVID restrictions and everything right now, it's been a while since we've had a scene like this on campus. But one of the great things about university, which can hopefully come back by the time any of you are ready to study in Japan, after the pandemic has sort of calmed down a bit, hopefully over the next year or so, is there's a lot of great events on campus. And this is one sort of a yearly concert, and there's all sorts of different things going on. All the clubs and circles put on performances as well. But yeah, this is just one view of that. So this is definitely something that you could participate in. Next is our Biwako Kusatsu Campus. So Biwako Kusatsu, because it's located in the more rural Shiga Prefecture, it's a much sort of more spread out, wide open campus. It's a very nice place. Again, I haven't had this many students on campus in a while, although lately, classes have pretty much been going on for the most part in person. Students who have been unable to travel to Japan, or who are stuck in their home country or something, have been participating online as of late. But when we're sort of running at full capacity, again, this is kind of what the campus might look like. Actually, this section right here has sort of been redone, and now there's a nice sort of garden running down the middle part here. And finally, our most recently built, opened in 2016, this campus in Osaka, our Osaka Ibaraki campus. And again, this is just another view from one of the big sort of yearly festivals that we hold on the campus. And again, hopefully we can get these kind of events going on again soon. This campus, it's sort of it's quite modern, and it's got a great location. And as you can kind of see here, there's a park there, which is in conjunction with the city. So, it's sort of really built into the community, and yeah, it's a very nice place to be. And here's another view from the other sort of end of that picture there. So at Ritsumeikan, we offer 7 master's and doctoral degree programs, which are taught entirely in English. And the programs here, these are the programs. So international relations, that's going to be located at our Kusatsu Campus in Kyoto. Policy science is located at Osaka Ibaraki Campus. Economics is located at the Kusatsu Campus, along with science and engineering, life sciences, and information science and engineering. So Biwako Kusatsu Campus is pretty much our sciences campus, although information science and engineering will actually be moving to our newer Osaka Ibaraki campus in about a year or so. So yeah, if anyone interested in going to information science and engineering, you're going to have a nice new campus to do that in the next coming year or so. Finally, technology management is also located at our Osaka Ibaraki campus. This program, their master's program is only offered in Japanese. Their doctoral program, however, is offered in English. So yeah, doctoral program only for this one. So just very briefly, international relations at Ritsumeikan. Ritsumeikan was one of the first Japanese universities to sort of adopt the sort of field of study called international relations as a formal topic, as a formal program at the university. And at the time, it wasn't really thought of as something important. But as you all know, pretty much all universities now have an international relations program. So yeah, we're very proud of that. It also has various accreditations, and it's quite popular. Many international students as well as Japanese students are studying in our program. Yes. Moving right along, policy science. Policy science is, a lot of people, when they read it, they almost mistakenly want to say political science at first, but actually policy science is the correct title for our graduate school. And it's not so much studying politics as it is sort of policy itself. So the sort of objective of policy science is to evaluate problems in the world, in society at sort of the regional, maybe city level, for example, and then sort of find a way to address those problems through policy, through public policy. So what's interesting about this department is it has a really, they take a multi-faceted stance to look at problems. So for example, if you want to open up a new highway running through the city, it's going to cause all kinds of problems, right? You need to move a lot of houses that might be in the way. And then where are you going to move those people? Are you going to build some low-cost housing somewhere? Obviously, the traffic patterns will change if you have a highway running through the city. People might drive through the city instead of having to go through it. And so, maybe they'll, be reduced income from passersby. So, of course, if you're building a highway through the city, there could be all sorts of environmental questions and issues that come up along with that. So what policy science does is, it takes some sort of, idea, like this idea of, well, we need to run a new highway through the city. And then it tries to address that and, achieve that project. But while looking at all the different problems that it's going to try and create. And policy science tries to find a way to achieve the end goal of the project while keeping everyone happy, all the stakeholders, the regular civilians, the people who want to drive to the city faster, people who are concerned about the environment, people who are concerned about the economy. So there's a lot of different points of view that you can have towards any given project, and policy science just tries and it finds tries to find the sort of best solution for the issue. And then the other part of the study is to evaluate policy after it has been put into effect, and see, was that a good decision? What could we have done better? How could we improve it as we move forward? And so sort of policy science teaches the approaches to that sort of type of thinking. And yeah, it's a fairly interesting topic. And again, this is definitely a popular department of ours for our international students. For both international relations and policy science, a lot of the graduates will go on to work for central government or as well as local government, and other large corporations as well. And of course, especially for the case of international relations, NGOs, the UN, so on and so forth. Moving on is our Graduate School of Economics. And economics, of course, it's sort of straightforward, right? Economics. But what's interesting about our program is because it's located in Biwaku Kusatsu Campus, which is sort of located in Shiga Prefecture, and that's one of the sort of industrial hubs, you could say, because the train, runs straight through Shiga to the ports out there in Osaka and Kobe. So there's a lot of manufacturing of different materials and different, for example, battery packs, solar equipment, wind power equipment. There's car factories producing, just chips or computers for cars, or other portions of cars, and so economics has a strong relationship with a lot of those companies. So one of the interesting and sort of unique things I would say maybe about our economics department is they hold a lot of tours out to some of these companies, as well as the local municipalities where these sort of maybe industrial parks, or that some of these companies are located. And so the students get a real hands-on sort of first-person view, and great opportunity to conduct field research into economics at sort of the regional level. And a lot of even actually even just the case of our Biwako Kusatsu campus, we sort of when that campus was built, the city where it was built was happy to receive it, because it was kind of like a local revitalization type deal. And since our campus was built, we got a train station there, all sorts of apartment buildings popped up, a lot of other businesses popped up to support the student body, and actually the whole area around the campus is one of the sort of hottest places to move in the region. And so, there's a lot of great opportunity to study similar phenomenon to that, which is great, if you're someone who's looking to get into that kind of field. Of course, a lot of students going into economics also will go to central government. A lot of them will go to, big banks and do, because investment and, foreign direct investment and so on and so forth is also studied at economics. But they also look at things like regional development, industrial development, and so it's just one of the interesting things you can really get a great first-person view of at this department. Next, science and engineering. This is where all of our the real hard engineering is located. Ours is, I believe, the biggest department in at least Western Japan. It's our most popular graduate school. It's quite large. Life sciences and information science and engineering used to be underneath the science and engineering umbrella, but they sort of became a little bit too big on their own and had to branch out. But yeah, again, science and engineering is very large at our school. So there's a lot of different topics which can be studied. And the main things that are covered in sort of, generalization would be things like, civil engineering, you have robotics, you have sort of like water engineering, fluid dynamics, as well as computer engineering, and so on and so forth. So the list really just goes on, because it's quite a large graduate school. So if you're in the science or engineering field, I definitely encourage you to take a look at our faculty. And I mean, this goes for all of the departments, but in particular, science and engineering is just so large that, I think you'd likely find a professor who maybe suits your interests at our science and engineering department. Next is life sciences, and life sciences at our university handles things like, biology, chemistry, chemical engineering, as well as biomedical sciences and bioinformatics, which is, if you're studying biology or you want to get into biological research, bioinformatics is just such an important thing these days, using the power of information science and technology to improve what you can do in the life science and sort of biology field. So life sciences, yeah, we have a lot of international students in this department too. And notably, I guess, because, in Osaka, it's one of the major cities, it's not as large as some place like Tokyo, obviously, but Osaka is a pretty big city nearby. And so a lot of our life science graduates, happily, thankfully, who wish to stay in Japan, so long as they improve their Japanese while they're here. A lot of them have been, are able to, and many have been able to find good jobs at a lot of these, not just chemical and biomedical science companies in Osaka, but also there's a lot of food companies, candy companies, things like that. And there's a lot of research into fermentation and other things, not just, DNA sequencing and such. Life sciences, there's a lot of other topics which are covered. And so again, a lot of our graduates have been fortunate enough to, get some interesting jobs in the region. And of course, other parts of Japan and in their home countries as well. Next, information science and engineering. This is going to be, computer science and technology. Everything is studied from robotics to AI to video game engineering. This is definitely a popular school of ours. It also has an undergraduate program in English, and a handful of notable professors here who are quite popular with the students. So definitely, if you're interested in information science and engineering, I would strongly encourage you to take a look into our program. And as for the undergraduate program, I believe we're still one of the only, or we're one of a small, I think, handful of universities in Japan who is offering this study at the undergraduate level. But yeah, also, of course, master's and doctoral program are offered too. Finally, technology management. Technology management is kind of, it's sort of a mix between information science and engineering and management itself, because these days technology is such an integral part of business and companies that technology management as a field has sort of popped up. And so there's many things which are studied here, but just to give maybe one example, if you have a big company, every once in a while you have to rotate in all new computers because they're getting obsolete. You have to get new, if you've all been to your high school or a university or somewhere, there's probably some sort of audiovisual equipment, built into the classrooms. And that stuff is great when it's new, but once it gets out of date, it's just in the way and obsolete. And so, companies need sort of strategies and timelines and budgeting to sort of handle the in and outs of getting new equipment, getting rid of the old stuff, improving systems at the company itself. And so technology management sort of deals with those issues. It's management from that sort of technology perspective of the technology and stuff at companies. Yes. So sorry for being stuck on this slide for so long. So let me stop the screen sharing here for just one moment, and I will move along to share the home page real quick. This evening, I'm definitely already running out of time. Sorry about that. But, in 20 minutes, there's just not enough time to speak about everything about the university, right? So what I would strongly encourage all of you watching tonight to do is, if you're at all interested in Ritsumeikan University, and you should be, I think, because we're a great school in Western Japan, beautiful location. Again, excellent access to the, great tourist spots in Osaka and Kyoto in particular. And we have just a lot of international programs and students. I would strongly encourage you to take a look at our homepage and, see which one of our programs maybe interests you and take a look a little bit deeper. So I'm going to show you just how to sort of get around the homepage a little bit. This is the main page. If you scroll down, there's some, you'll find actually some interesting topic section here. And there's, articles about some of just the, most up-to-date research that we're doing right now. So yeah, here's some robotics research which is going on. And here is a press release which was recently released by one of our professors from science and engineering, I believe. And yeah, then there's news with more, similar sort of information. So you can see that, just that kind of stuff here. And if you go to the very top of the page, you can check out the academics section where you'll have access to, it'll bring you a list of all these graduate schools. And for example, if you're interested in international relations, you just click on that, as you would assume. It's quite easy, brings you up to the international relations page. And, there's quite a bit of information here. You can take a look at the academics page, for example, and find the curriculum for the master's and doctoral programs. Here at International Relations, the English-based program is known as the Global International Relations Program, and it's composed of the Global Governance Cluster, Sustainable Development Cluster, Culture, Society, and Media Cluster, and Global Japanese Studies clusters. And those are sort of the main, groups of courses. And then within each of those clusters, there's a variety of similar courses. And you can take courses from any of these clusters. But generally, if you're going to have one focus, or depending on what your focus is, rather, most of this, what you're studying is probably going to be located in one cluster. And then you take, maybe a couple of electives from the other ones, just to bolster your knowledge. One thing that's quite important for pretty much all of our graduate schools, and as I believe Mr. Gupta mentioned earlier on in his presentation, I believe it was him, was that, with Japanese universities, you definitely want to check out a professor. And in most cases, you want to get permission from the professor before applying. And I would say with Ritsumeikan, with pretty much all of our graduate schools, that's the case too. You want to increase your chances, and you don't want to, apply with, or you want to give yourself the most chance, basically of passing the admissions procedure beforehand, right? So what you definitely want to do is take a look at our professors. And so for any of the graduate schools, pretty much they're going to have either a faculty list or academic advisors page. And if you take a look there, the pages are all a little bit different. The international relations one here is quite nice, I would say, because it allows you to search by issue. Just for example, environment, sustainable society, international cooperation. You just click here. It'll bring you up a list of professors with just a brief, explanation about what they do. And then if you go ahead and click on the brief explanation, it'll give you a bit more in-depth introduction. And, you can see the email address here. There's another link here for a researcher's database where you can even see even more info. But what I would recommend you do is definitely email the professor and then discuss about your research plan, and they'll let you know, if it's a topic that's not covered by the graduate school at all, they'll say, hey, I'm sorry, we can't help you. And it'll save you the trouble of applying to the graduate school. So definitely don't just apply to a bunch of schools blind. Speak with the professor first, and they'll give you, some indication, hopefully, of whether it's even a topic that can be studied at that graduate school. And most of the time they'll help you, if they're interested in maybe accepting you as a student, they'll help you sort of brush up your research plan before you apply.
Mr. Daniel, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm pretty much out of time, aren't I?
You could share these links in the chat box. So
okay, excellent. Yeah.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much for
I'll
the
do it.
comprehensive presentation. Now,
Yes.
we'll begin the Q&A session. There are a couple of students who have asked questions in the Q&A portal. Would you like
Okay.
to,
Yes.
or I can pick them up
Let me
if that
just stop the
makes
screen
it
share here for a second. Oh, well, let me. Here, I'll just go from the top and see how many I can get through. And just as for anyone in the Q&A and for anyone else who has questions, if you can just keep sending them. And once my section is over, I will try and answer as many as I can. But just going from what I see at the top here, any master's degree courses for liberal arts. For liberal arts, I'm not sure exactly what topic within the liberal arts sort of spectrum you might mean. International relations, economics and policy science would be, considered maybe in the humanities side, which would fall under the liberal arts, I would say. And they all offer their master's and doctoral degree programs in English. So hopefully that answers your question. If you have, more detailed interest, like one specific, focus under liberal arts umbrella, definitely ask it in there and I will try and answer it later on through typing. Next one, is there any courses related to Japanese language? Yes, but they're in Japanese. So the courses we have related to Japanese language are mostly for people who, for example, are looking to become Japanese teachers, even like Japanese students, for example, who want to become a Japanese teacher, either not just overseas, but also in Japan, as you might have had, an English teacher at your school, Japanese in Japan have Japanese teachers in their schools too. So there's programs like that. And then there's also within our Graduate School of Letters, there is one section which studies Japanese
Mr. Daniel?
I have a bachelor's of arts in economics, a 3-year
Actually,
program. Yeah.
Mr. Daniel, we couldn't hear you for a second.
Oh,
It was lagging a little. So,
okay.
you could type the answer in the Q&A portal.
Okay.
Mr. Daniel, can I pick up a few questions?
Okay, sure.
Right. There's a question that says, are there any language requirements for, do you need to know Japanese for getting into the English programs available at Ritsumeikan University?
So you don't have to have any knowledge of Japanese whatsoever for the English language programs. As for English, you do need to submit either the TOEFL, TOEIC, or IELTS test score, and it should be from within 2 years of the application deadline. So for example, if you're going to apply for international relations again, and the deadline is, tomorrow, July 17th, then it should be, from July 17th onwards from 2019. So it should be a recent test, but there's no minimum cutoff grade point. They just want a test score.
Okay, and we can pick up 2 more questions.
Okay.
So one question says, do you provide scholarships or any financial aid for the master's programs?
Yes. So from the university itself, we have, there's 100% tuition reduction and there's 20% tuition reduction scholarships. The 100% pretty competitive. There's maybe like 1 position per graduate school, so not very likely to be selected for that. It's just so competitive. The 20% tuition reduction scholarship, if you're in an English language based program, as long as you apply for it, it will be granted to you automatically. As long as, if you go over your 2-year limit in the master's program, you can't graduate on time, then you can't get it anymore. But if you're within your first 2 years, then as long as you apply, you can be granted that. And then we have other ones, which are offered to students at the time of their admissions. So, if you get your your admissions exam results back and they say, congratulations, you're welcome to the university. Oftentimes you'll also be offered For example, just, let's say like a $1,000 or $2,000 US dollars equivalent reduction to your tuition fees based on your test scores there. And then after you've enrolled in the university, there's many sort of scholarships and stuff that the university's related to, foundations and such. And so you can apply for other scholarships after getting in as well.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel. There are many questions in the Q&A portal, so you can go ahead and answer the questions when other universities are presenting. Thank you so much.
I will. All right, thank you very much. And I hope you all have a great afternoon moving on. Thank you.
Right, we proceed with the agenda. I reshare the agenda slide. Now we have Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University. So Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University is one of the leading private universities owing to its multicultural learning atmosphere. It possesses a highly diverse international environment, and its programs in the field of humanities is very well recognized nationally and internationally. The university also provides scholarships and excellent opportunities to its students. Now, I'd like to request Ms. Dipti Singh to give us an insight into the university.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Deepti. I'm an alum of APU, and currently I represent APU in India. So we'll get started with the presentation. The picture that you see on your screen is our campus. It is located on top of a mountain, as you can see, and it overlooks the Pacific Ocean. I'll be talking more about its location in a while. Yeah, so the most interesting thing about APU is its student composition. So 50% of APU students are international students. They come from various countries and regions. And the other 50% are native Japanese students. And we try to maintain the similar ratio of 50% in our faculty as well. So our professors and the faculty members, they also come from 21 different countries. APU is about 20 years old now, and its alumni is now in 159 countries. And the current student body is about from 90 different countries. So together we are about 5,500 students, and most of them are undergraduate. We have a very small master's and PhD school as well, with about 200 strength. As I mentioned earlier, APU is about 20 years old, but if you look at the world's, the Times ranking, so we have climbed up the ranking charts really fast, and it is ranked 22nd in Japan out of 800 universities. If you're just looking at private universities, it is 5th out of 640 private universities. It is one of the top global universities in Japan, and it also means that it offers scholarships, tuition reduction scholarships to all the international students. So more about its location. We are located in the southernmost largest island of Japan. It is Kyushu. This red dot that you see here is APU. It is very well connected with other cities in Japan. It's about 1.5-hour flight from Tokyo. It's a mid-sized city, very safe, very convenient. And it is also very popular for its hot springs. So there are about 2,000 hot springs, and there are a lot of tourists who come every year to visit the city. All right, now about its courses. So we have two colleges. One is College of International Management, APM. The degree here is called Bachelor's in Business Administration, or BBA. Here you can specialize in either of the following: accounting and finance, strategic management and organization, marketing, innovation and economics. You do not have to choose these specializations when you apply. You can choose them as you go along, even in the second or third year of your course. We are AACSB accredited, which means that our curriculum and our faculty it's highly evaluated, and it puts us in the top 5% of the world business universities. We also organize business case competitions every year. So last year before COVID, of course, we had students come to our campus from about 16 countries, and we invited some of the companies on our campus, and they threw business case competitions to our students, and they had to solve these, whatever problems they were given in a specific time frame. So the learning is not limited to classrooms, I would say, having studied there myself. So you get to really put in practice whatever you have studied in your classrooms as well. Yeah. The other college that we have is College of Asia Pacific Studies, or it is, the degree here is called Bachelor's in Social Sciences. Here you can specialize in environment and development, culture, society and media, hospitality and tourism, international relations and peace studies, either of the following. As I said earlier, you do not have to choose the specialization right away. So the first year, your studies would be more focused on learning Japanese and foundation subjects. That will give you a fair bit of an idea which field you would be more interested in pursuing in specialization. More about language program, language studies at APU. So all the English-based students are required to study Japanese in APU at least for a year, unless you have already studied it. And similarly, all the native Japanese students are required to study English. So we also have other languages that you can choose if you are interested, but for most students, Japanese is handful. Yeah, about the living arrangements, we have an on-campus housing facility. It's called AP House. It is guaranteed for all first-year students. So in first year, you certainly will get a room there, and it is a fully furnished room, as you can see in the picture as well. The rent is 49,000 yen per month, and it includes everything. There are single rooms as well as shared rooms. But from second year onwards, you have a choice of moving downtown. You can choose to stay with your friends or alone as you prefer. Again, as I said, Beppu is a very safe city. You can walk out any time of the day or night. It's really convenient as well. So living off campus is also not inconvenient. Yeah, so because APU is such a vibrant, has such a vibrant community of so many different nationalities, we also have, different cultural and arts academic circles, and we organize multicultural weeks. Throughout 1 week, for example, we will serve Vietnamese food, Vietnamese cultural performances will be there. So, it's a very wholesome experience to indulge. Okay, now about our scholarship opportunities. So APU being the top global university, it offers tuition reduction scholarships to all the applicants. These tuition reduction scholarships, they vary from 30% to 100%. It depends on your application and a few other factors. Apart from the tuition reduction scholarship, we also have some private scholarships which are available after enrollment. So after you have enrolled, you can apply for these scholarships, and these scholarships will help you with your living expenses. The tuition reduction scholarship, although you will get to know about it before your enrollment, and they are valid for all 4 years. So I will take an example to help you understand how this tuition reduction scholarship really works. So let's say you receive an 80% tuition reduction from APU. In that case, your tuition per annum would be 1.8 lakh rupees. 1.8 lakh rupees is the tuition that you will need to pay to APU every year. But apart from that, they will be living expenses, which would mean your accommodation, food, utilities, etc. And they come out to be approximately 7 lakh rupees. The total with 80% tuition scholarship, the expenses would be around 11.5 lakh rupees, but not really, because as I mentioned, there are other scholarships which help you with this 7 lakh amount as well. About the career prospects, so after you graduate, Japanese, there are very good job prospects in Japan. Our job placement rate is really high. It is about 96%. We have a career office where career office who brings companies to our campus every year. So there are about 200 plus companies that come to our campus and do recruitments amongst the students. For the Indian students, most of them choose to work either in Japan or many of them are placed internationally as well. But if at all you choose to come back to India, of course, there are many Japanese companies here. And of course, you start from a very good level, even if you choose to return to India. So APU being an international university and the kind of curriculum we have, the students in our university tend to have these unique skill sets, like, they are multilingual and they have developed cultural intelligence over time, living on campus, and global perspective, which is highly valued in the job market. So these are some of the companies where our graduates have been recruited. Some of these names, as you can see, such as Google Japan, Sony, Nissan, Panasonic, Nissan, these are Japanese companies, but there are others which are more international, Accenture and Bosch, etc. So there are, there are plenty of opportunities for recruitments. In graduate schools, many of our graduates, they choose to pursue masters, and there are some very popular names such as University of Oxford, University of Tokyo. So they have made a cut here. Harvard University. I want to inform everyone that we have a mock lecture coming up for students, especially for those who are interested in Asia Pacific Studies or Bachelor of Social Sciences, Liberal Arts. If that is your area of interest, please do join us. It is on the 25th of July. It's a Sunday, so it's easy for everyone to really join. Here's a registration link. We would be sharing these slides later on, so you can register, or you can just take a picture right now, and you can register before 21st of July. About our application process. So our April enrollments are open right now. April 2022 enrollments are open right now till October 13th. But most of the students, high school students for undergraduate, I think they are more, they're eligible for the other one, the fall semester, October 4 to October 27th. Or there will be another application period which will start on March 21st till April 13th. But I urge everybody to apply as early as you can, because the chances of scholarships are higher when you apply early. If you're interested in applying to APU, this is the QR code, or you can go to our website and download this undergraduate application handbook. It's a step-by-step procedure. It will help you in application. About the screening process, so we have two stages um, uh, uh, for our screening. And stage 1 is the document screening, where we screen your documents, and we also conduct a short online assessment, which is about 60-minute assessment. And if you clear that stage, then there is a stage 2, which is an interview. And after this interview, if you clear these 2 stages, we announce the scholarship results to you, and also the result of your application. So even before you make any kind of payment for your admission fee, you will get to know the tuition reduction scholarship that you will get from APU. So as I mentioned, there are 2 stages. Stage 1 is the online assessment. So these are some details. So there will be a critical thinking test, which is about 30 minutes. And then there's a core abilities assessment test, which is 20 minutes. But you don't really need to prepare for any of these. You can just attend them. They're not very difficult. Then there's an interview, which is held online mostly now. So it is a 15 to 20-minute interview. And after these 2 steps, you will get to know your final application and scholarship result. So if you're interested in applying or knowing anything more about the university, you can contact me. I'm based out of Delhi, and we have another agent who is based out of Mumbai. Her name is Ishana, and our contact details are here. You can, I will be sharing these on the chat box as well. You can be in touch with us. Yeah, thank you. So I will close with a short movie, short video on our university. Ms. Kushi, do we have time for the video?
How long is the video?
3 minutes.
Okay, not a problem. Ms. Dippy, you can turn off your video when you're showing the video so that the video will be played smoothly.
Okay. Can you see?
Yes, we can.
Hey guys, this is 2018 Spring Entrance Ceremony, and I'm Saad.
And I'm Ruth from APU Student Social Media Unit, and today we're on a mission. Saad, what's the mission?
The mission is to make friends from as many countries as we can.
And this semester we have students from 38 different countries joining us here at APU.
So let's wait no more and meet them.
Let's go. Like, why did you choose to study in Japan?
ラーメン一番好きですから。
Ramen?
ラーメン、ラーメン。
I like ramen too. I mean, that's it.
That was the main reason I went.
So guys, what's your name and where are you from?
My name is Vivek Yogi and I'm from Nepal. My name is Pradut and I'm from Nepal as well.
I'm from Rwanda, from Nigeria, from Sri Lanka, from Korea, I'm from Fiji,
From Russia.
Canada,
Azerbaijan, from France, from Finland, but I study in Norway,
the USA, Germany, Uganda,
from Mongolia,
from India,
from Thailand, from Indonesia. Diversity, yes. Being able to get a lot of people from different walks of life and backgrounds.
It is a very small place, but it's also very friendly, and you have everything you need in the around you.
and everyone is so friendly here. And so far I've found so many good people, so many friends. Family here.
We're a family here, that's great.
It's pretty amazing. It's very different from home, but you really start to enjoy the culture.
First of all would be the culture, I guess. The people are really nice over here.
For me, it's also the same culture, and I really wanted to learn time management and business ethics from Japanese people.
I like to engage with Japanese culture much more in APU. I want to engage with the locals, not just international students. I want to engage in local cuisine, local traditions, tea ceremonies, and etc.
It's so beautiful, it's beautiful, I love it here. I feel like at home. I don't see the homesick. I don't feel homesick. Yeah, me too. I feel like I'm at home.
The everybody's so friendly, everybody's so just lovely. Everything is lovely in Japan right now.
Well, it's a very multicultural community, so I aim to get a lot of friends here and make good relationships with people.
自分はパラリンピック賞レーススポーツ興味あってパラリンピックとかそういうのなんかサークルとかできたらいいなって思ってます。
I'm looking forward to help many women and learn new things from APU.
So that brings us to the end of today's ceremony.
We hope you had a great time as we did,
And congratulations to all the new students.
and wish you all the best for your future.
All that's left to say is
Till
until
next time. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Dipti, for the very informative presentation. It would be great if you could share a few links in the chat box for the students to refer. You can share the links of the mock lectures and the admission guidelines. So
I
it's
will.
to look at them. Thank you so much. There are a few questions in the Q&A portal. Would you like to answer that?
Sure. All right. So semi-English medium, but if our English is good, so we can take admission in Japanese University in MTech. I don't think this is for APU. Okay. So is there any short time language program in APU University? Yes, there is. It's a 2-month course, but it is due to COVID, it's not, we are not holding it from the past 1 year or so. But as I said, Japanese is a mandatory subject. It's a mandatory subject in our curriculum. So if you choose to join APU, you will be studying it anyhow.
Regarding the next question, I think it's a little difficult to understand, but I think what the student means is, are there any part-time jobs or financial aid available to students at university?
Yes. So there are 3 ways that you can support yourself financially. So one is the tuition reduction scholarship. So when you apply to APU, as I mentioned, you will be granted the tuition reduction. It could be anything between 30% to 100% tuition waiver from the tuition fee. One is that. The other one is the scholarships, which are for your living expenses, such as JASO, and there are plenty of others. You will have to, I will share a link on the chat box. You can take a look at that file. I think Ms. Kushi has also shared it earlier. So those scholarships will help you with your living expenses. And then other than that, you can also take up some part-time jobs on campus. There are on-campus part-time jobs as well as off-campus part-time jobs. You could be an assistant to a teacher, or you could be helping in the media lab at the university. So there are plenty of opportunities on campus as well. But if you choose to work in a restaurant or convenience stores, so there are plenty of options for part-time jobs as well.
Okay, Ms. Dipti, we can pick up 2 more questions. One question says, are there undergraduate or graduate programs in electrical engineering or psychology?
No, unfortunately, we do not have, we just have 2 colleges. One is a management college and the other one is social sciences.
Okay, and one more question. Can you elaborate on the liberal arts or humanities undergraduate or graduate courses at APU?
Sure. So I will share the slide quickly. So here, yeah. So these are this is our Asia Pacific Studies College, and you could. Yeah, you can choose to specialize in either of these following. So I think you're also concerned. So about the structure of this course, the first year you will be studying Japanese and foundation subjects from all these 4 areas, and you can choose those subjects. And later on, you can specialize in either of these. You also asked about the opportunities. So many of our graduates from this college are working currently with UN and other governmental bodies. There are some who are placed as diplomats. So it really depends. With some are associated with NGOs. So it really depends on which field you would choose as your major one. And secondly, the corporates, working in a company is also open to students from College of Asia Pacific Studies. They can apply. They have exactly the similar kind of opportunities that are available to Asia Pacific management, for a simple reason, because in Japan, companies believe in training you after recruiting you. So you will be trained on whatever job you choose to do. So those are the opportunities.
Thank you, Ms. Dipti, for answering the questions. Actually, we're running out of time, so you can continue answering the questions that are in the Q&A portal, even when other universities are presenting. But
Sure.
thank you once again for the presentation, and you can share a few links in the chat box. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Now we have the last presentation by Tokyo University of Foreign Studies. So TUFS is a national research university that has a myriad of programs focusing on cultural studies, languages, and societies. The degree programs have trained professionals in Japan and elsewhere, and has also proved to be one of the best institutions for exchange and research students who hope to pursue a career in the field of humanities. Now I'd like to request Professor Haruna and Ms. Ishida to give us an insight into the university.
Thank you very much for the very wonderful introduction. Let me start our presentation from my side. We will go over briefly about, about the degree programs that are offered in English. Okay, so welcome to Tokyo University of Foreign Studies. My name is Ria Ishida of the Global Admissions Office. As mentioned, we will go over briefly about the English degree programs that we offer. We are, as our name shows, located in Tokyo, in the capital of Japan, only about 30 minutes of a train ride from downtown Tokyo in a very quiet residential areas. As our title shows, we specialize in foreign studies, language studies, and also international studies. Unfortunately, we do not have a department covering scientific fields. But as the university specializes in foreign studies, the number of languages taught in this university reaches 75. Among the 75 are so-called 28 major languages. As you can see here, Urdu, Hindi, and Bengali are one of those 28 major languages, which means that once you come to this university, you will be able to meet and communicate with the Japanese students who are studying your language, your culture, and your history. We have 3 undergraduate programs and master's and PhD programs. Today, the degree programs offered in English and English or Japanese are School of Japan Studies, which is the undergraduate program. And for the master's program, we have the Peace and Conflict Studies course. These two comes with the Japanese government scholarship opportunity. We also have the Joint Doctoral Program for Sustainability Research, which is also offered in English. All 3 programs that I just mentioned do have the pre-arrival selection, meaning that you don't need to travel to Japan to apply for the programs. If you're interested in any of these programs, please check out our admission information through the link here or through the QR code here. We will also be sharing this link to the chat section afterwards. We understand that fees and financial support is a very big issue when you're considering studying in Japan. As a national university in Japan, our academic fees are relatively low compared with the private universities in Japan. Although Peace and Conflict Studies and the School of Japan Studies comes with the Japanese government scholarship opportunity, there are students who are entering our programs as a privately funded students. They will also be able to apply for some of the financial supports that we have, like tuition exemption and also scholarships provided by private foundations. The details of these financial support will be given to the successful applicants once the admission information is out. Let me briefly go over two of the graduate programs that I just mentioned. Peace and Conflict Studies course is our master's program, which is offered in English. It is a 2 years master's program, and the degree granted upon completion is in Master of Arts in International Studies. We accept new students in October of each year. The biggest feature of this Peace and Conflict Studies course is that we are a relatively small group, accepting 10 to 12 students per year, but the students come from diverse backgrounds. Apart from the academic studying that you will have a very intimate communication and collaboration with the students coming from all different backgrounds. As I mentioned, it is a 2 years master's program, starting out with the mandatory classes that all students need to take. You will be able to choose from the diverse course offerings as the elective courses as well. You can actually check our curriculum here at our PCS website. So once this presentation is over, I hope you can have some opportunity to check out our curriculum as well. As I mentioned, this Peace and Conflict Studies course comes with the Japanese government scholarship opportunity. Apart from the eligibility for this program, you also need to meet with some of the additional eligibilities. One of them is that you are to be the nationals of conflict-affected countries. There's no fixed definition for this, as long as you can explain that your country has been affected by conflict, either within your country or with the neighboring country, or the conflicts happening elsewhere in the world. We will review your application for this scholarship. Again, you can apply for this scholarship when you apply for our program as well. There's no separate procedure for this. So again, please check out the details with their admission information stated in the link here. Another financial support for this PCS program is that the top 5 students entering this program as a privately funded student will be granted with the admission fee and the tuition exemption. So our recommendation is to prepare your application well. Lastly, the doctoral program, Joint Doctoral Program for Sustainability Research, is a 3 years doctoral program. The main feature of this is that it is a collaborative tripartite of 3 universities: Tokyo University of Foreign Studies, Tokyo University of Agriculture and Technology, and University of Electrocommunications. As you can see from these 3 universities, you can conduct your research from a multidisciplinary approach. If you're interested, please visit their website here at this link or the QR code here. I understand that many of you are very interested in Japan and Japanese studies. Today, we will have Professor Haruna to go over the School of Japan Studies, which is the program offered in English. If you already have a high Japanese proficiency, there will be other options as well. So if you already have the Japanese proficiency, please contact our Global Admissions Office for your options. Thank you very much for listening to my part. Let me now hand over the microphone to Professor Haruna of the School of Japan Studies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ishida-san. Now let me give me about 10 minutes to talk about the School of Japan Studies. Well, the School of Japan Studies is actually the newest school at the Tokyo University of Foreign Studies. It was established in 2019, so we don't have any graduates yet. The eldest students are in their 3rd year now. Well, so first let me explain why we established this new school, and then I'll talk about the notable features of the school. Finally, I'll just give a short explanation about the admissions. Okay, first of all, well, when we established the School of Japan Studies, we envisaged Japan to turn into a more globalized society in the future, which means that we will have more and more people coming from abroad to work and study in Japan. And the purpose of establishing this new school is to train and educate people who can adapt to such a globalized Japan. So therefore, we reproduced this kind of diverse environment in the School of Japan Studies. I believe this is the most notable feature here. We have both international and Japanese students studying together in the same classroom from the first year. Every year, we accept 45 students from Japanese high schools and 30 students from abroad. And if you look at the origin of state of the foreign students, you can see that the students are not just coming from the neighboring East Asian countries, but also throughout Asia, including Oceania. And then you can also see that we have a number of students from Europe and the United States and South America as well. So it's a very globalized institution. And well, we will also take in 10 additional students every year from the third year. So therefore, at the time of graduation, you will have about the same number of Japanese students and international students. Well, if you do not have any Japanese proficiency, if you don't know anything about Japan, don't worry. That is what we give. That is what we teach. Well, if you don't have any knowledge about Japan, we have a comprehensive educational program. For the first 3 years, you take courses ranging from social studies, literature, linguistics, and you will also receive courses to teach Japanese to non-Japanese speakers. All students will have to take these courses ranging from this field number 1 to field number 4. We give you this wide range of courses because we want you to form a base of knowledge to know more about Japan, to be able to talk about Japan, to be able to teach about Japan to other people. And also we have the purpose of giving you time to search your own interest, search your own focus. So therefore, in the fourth year, you can focus on your own theme, your own field, and complete a graduation thesis. Another point is that I said even Japanese beginners are accepted. We give you, if you start as a Japanese beginner, we have a great number of intensive Japanese courses. If you enter as a Japanese beginner, I have to say that the morning hours of your first year will be allocated to Japanese language lessons. I have to say that this is pretty tough. But if you go through this by the third year, you will reach a certain level, a pretty high level of Japanese proficiency. And I should also add that this is needed to get a job in Japan. So I believe this is one advantage of this course. We give you Japanese lessons. For the first 2 years, the compulsory courses are taught in English. In the first year, all the compulsory courses are taught in English. In the second year, you can select from among these compulsory courses, and you can select enough numbers in English to meet the credit requirements. So we can say that for the first 2 years, English is the common language. But from the third year on, you will start taking courses taught in Japanese. And this is the reason why we give you a great number of Japanese language lessons in the first 3 years. You will catch up with the Japanese students. Okay, let me move on to the admissions. Well, we actually have 2 entrances. The first is, well, as I just told you, you can enter the School of Japan Studies from the first year. If you enter this school from the first year, you come to the university from the first day of April. Well, if you want to enter the School of Japan Studies from April next year. The application period will start at the end of August and to early September. This is a two-stage screening process, and the first screening is document paper screening. You will have to submit your English scores and some essays and your CV, well, and your high school records. And well, if you pass that first stage, you move on to the second stage, which is an online interview. You can take this interview from India. Well, if you pass this, well, you will be noticed whether you are accepted or not at around the end of November. Well, I will also like to add that this entrance comes with the opportunity to receive the MEX scholarship. MEX scholarships is the scholarship provided by the Ministry of Education. Well, I don't have time to go through this in detail. So if you are interested in this, please contact us at the Global Admissions Office. As you can see right down here, gao@tufs.ac.jp. This is the address of the Global Admissions Office. If you are interested in this, please contact us. We'll give you all the information you need. The second entrance is the third-year transfer. Well, as I just mentioned, we take in about 10 students each year from the third year, but actually 5 students come from a specific university. So we open 5 seats for other universities. Well, if you have completed more than 2 years of university education, you are eligible to apply for the third-year transfer examination. Well, we take in the students from October, but I have to say that for this October, we have already selected the students. So your next chance will be entering the School of Japan Studies from October 2022. We will announce the admission information. I wrote down March, but no, this will be earlier. Probably around January 2022. And the entrance examination, this is an interview. This will take place in May 2022. Well, we have language qualifications, which is JLPT N2 level, or in English and in English CEFR B2 level. You have to have you have to meet both of these language qualifications. And again, well, if you are interested in this, please contact us at the Global Admissions Office, gao@tufs.ac.jp. Okay, finally, well, we will have an online information session actually next week on Tuesday. Well, we have 2 sessions, one from 10 o'clock Japan time, the second at 5 o'clock Japan time. I believe there's a time difference between India and Japan, so maybe the second session will meet your schedule better. Well, anyways, if you are interested in this, please you can apply yourself through the QR code right in front of you, or well, just follow the link right in front of you. Well, we will give you more detailed information. We have students actually studying at the School of Japan Studies now who will just give their experience to you. So if you are interested in the School of Japan Studies, please join us at this information session. Okay, thank you very much. This was from me. I believe we have enough time to go on for, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, Professor Haruna, for the presentation. It was very comprehensive. And there are a couple of questions in the Q&A portal. So would you like to pick up a few questions?
Yes, 3 years of study.
I suppose many of the questions have already been answered by the panelists. There's one question that asks, there's a student who has taken a study gap, and are gaps accepted or not by the university?
Well, gaps don't matter at all. It's just if you have received like 12 years of education, which means that the years of education you need to enter a university, then there's no problem of entering our university. Or if you want to enter the graduate school, if you have completed your bachelor's, then there's no problem.
Okay. There's one more question. Are there engineering courses available?
Well, actually, this is Humanities and Social Science University. We don't. I'm very sorry about that.
Okay. At the moment, there aren't questions in the Q&A portal, as most of them have already been answered. Is there any information you would like to give students?
Yes,
Anything else you'd
yes.
like to add?
May I add a little bit of our presentation? As Professor Haruna just mentioned, that we will be having the School of Japan Studies online information session next week on July 20th in Japan time. I have just posted the link for the information session flyer, and we will be accepting the registration up until July 18th. On this Sunday. So if you're interested, just register for the session. We will send you the link for the Zoom webinar on Monday, July 17th. We will be having our current students sharing their experience. We may also have one of our graduates who can share their experience during the TUFs and during after the graduation. So I hope it will be a very good opportunity for many of you to experience what you can learn here at this university.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ishida. You can share a few links in the chat box for students to refer to them at any point. Thank you so much for the comprehensive presentation.
Thank you
I'll share the presentation. So this marks the end of our webinar. Thank you to all the panelists and attendees for participating in today's webinar. The recordings of the webinars conducted earlier are uploaded to the U Tokyo India office site, and the link is shared in the chat box. Also, please feel free to contact the universities personally for additional information. Once again, thank you for attending the webinar, and we hope to see you in the coming webinars. And please save the links that are on the slide so that you can see the recordings of the past webinars and the links for the coming webinars.